These elections, have the aspirants been too liquid? Well, join me now as we take an interesting conversation about the marketing frenzy that has been hitting the country. And I'm joined by a gentleman who we've seen on our screens before. He is one of the judges on KCB London, as well as an entrepreneur, and that is none other than Trishia Keita CEO-Tria Group. Many thanks for making time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, there's a lot of questions around what we're seeing right now with the party primaries across the country. There's a lot of spending. How can aspirants grab this opportunity that is being offered by entrepreneurs like you?
It's really interesting, right? For me, as I said, this year's race is quite competitive. We're seeing it right across the board that everybody wants to fight for voters. And it's almost like, for me, it's like brands fighting for market share.
Sure.
It's literally the same. It's like brands fighting for market share. For me, it's about the guys who will stand out from the clutter, right? I live by the principle that you stand in line or you stand out. For me, standing out means there's a lot of clutter. We've seen there's a lot of postering. There's still a lot of traditional media that is being done in terms of a lot of postering, where in fact we've had some of our own bus stops, you know, which has been put up with campaign posters.
Sure.
But I believe guys need to, you know, it's still money at the end of the day. You're still spending money printing those posters, pasting them, but there are better ways to be innovative, right? And just like innovative brands are the ones that command audience, have that captive attention.
Sure.
The politicians need to look at themselves like brands. They need to look at themselves as having an emotional connection to the voters, who's the audience.
All right. And Trishia, looking at the cycle of politics we are in, many people are not accustomed with going the other conventional way.
Yeah.
Of course, we want people to break away from the posters and the billboards. What other alternatives are there?
I think part of our portfolio as Tria, one thing I committed to from the start when we launched this company was that we don't want to do the norm like everybody else is doing. Just like relating back to the politics side, that you know you need to be able to stand out and be disruptive. I always believe you have to do things that are different from the others.
Sure.
So for us, one of the things we started with was transit media. And yes, I agree that the billboards are very effective. They're large, they're vibrant, but it's one way. There are no conversations that are there to be had, you know? It's static. And it's one of those that requires people to come to your message. If they don't come on that route, they'll not see it.
So are you saying aspirants need to adopt a sort of a mix between the two?
Exactly, exactly.
But it's going to cost them more.
Not necessarily. It's about being smart. You see, for us, it's about why wait for people to come to your message, right? You take your message to the people. And when you look at rallies, it's a perfect example that in rallies, they're going to the people, where the vicinity is. So for us, like for example, using our out-of-home media space, say transit media, which includes buses, matatus, and bus shelters. Yeah. They already are carrying passengers. They're already having commuters. Those commuters are anyway on the go. And they have nothing to do throughout these journey times. And Ipsos research, when we did it just on last Friday,
yes, I remember,
was 82 minutes is the journey time for Nairobians. So that's the engagement time somebody can have. And it's disruptive because you've got this captive audience. You can spark one-to-one conversations. So we would like to challenge guys and say, fine, you've got this static one-way media, but how about having things where you can actually even have dialogues, where they can even have their brand ambassadors getting onto those buses and distributing flyers, which is a nicer way to do than printing posters and pasting them randomly on top of other posters. Then the next politician comes, he puts his posters on top of the other guy.
Very sure. You know? And perhaps as we wrap it up, Tria, one of the biggest outcomes of a successful advertising campaign is conversion.
Exactly.
Where people have been won over.
Exactly.
And of course, for many politicians, that means them clinching that seat. And looking at, on average, what's the spend looking at the current dynamics we are facing in the country, and what are the projections you're likely to see? For me, I believe somebody has to spend smartly. Not
Not largely, because as you said, at the end of the day, it's about the conversion. We like to call it the call to action, because there is those that you first want to get awareness. That's the first stage.
Yeah.
People to be aware of your existence and what you stand for. Then from awareness, it's call to action, the conversion, which is into thoughts. For me, as I said, even if somebody has a budget as small as, say, $500,000 in a month, they're able to get a good number of coverage in the out-of-home space. Yeah, I mean, easily, if you're looking at close to $500,000, can get you close to 8 to 10 buses. Now remember, these are mobile billboards in the route of your choice. So they can even smartly target the constituencies or the counties, however high or large or small the areas.
Yeah.
They're able to be very specific on the target routes. So for me, it's not about how much you spend, but it's about how effective is that spend.
Sure.
Right?
All right. Perfect place to end the conversation. Of course,
thank you.
We'll definitely keep an eye on how the brands continue to perform in this particular election cycle, even as other brands try to become unique and engage on some of the unique platforms that can get the masses coming and actually